What's good? What's good? It's your boy DP. We back with another interview, another episode on the Listen to DP podcast channel. And what we got today is an amazing story from an amazing young man, my guy TBJ, Tristan Boudreaux Jr. I've trained him for a long time, and this kid works. He's a soccer player. He wants to be great at what he does. Throughout our time training, we've seen the ups, the downs, and everything in between. So appreciate you for once for coming on the channel. But let's get into the story a little bit. My boy Tristan, he played soccer. We did some football in 7th grade. He jumped out of football back to just soccer and started just killing it. As he got better with his skills, we find out something's wrong. Like his knees are hurting. So we like, it might just be growing pains and everything else. We found out that actually his knees didn't bend the way they were supposed to, right? Everybody else, when we walk or bend, our knees go up and down. When he would bend, his knees would slide in, right? So we figured this out through the doctors, and he ended up having to get surgery. So we're gonna start kind of from there, bro. Like I said, we know the story for most people. You work, you get to middle school, and now you get into high school. Let's start from, what did it feel like to do all that work to play, a sport that you started late in to start getting good, and then boom, you're like, my knees are messed up? What do you mean? Like, what was that like for you?
It was always a problem. Like,
Yeah.
When I was younger, I always told my mom that my knees hurt. I can't walk. My mom thought I was just a kid, just playing.
Yeah.
And so when the doctor told us what it was kind of shocked. Like, oh snap, it was way worse than it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I was young and I knew I had time, but my dad always told me, like, if this happens, you gotta get back right. You gotta keep working.
Yeah.
So I was down, but at the same time, I had motivation to prove people wrong and to get back. That's super responsible.
Yeah. So as you're going through all this, and you then have to get surgery on both knees, right? And then you were out about 6 months each knee. Like, what was that surgery, that rehab process? Like, what was going through your mind when they told you the first time, like, hey, this gonna put you down for a minute?
I was bummed out at first, like, dang, I'm finna miss my freshman year.
Yeah.
But then, I have more. Like my dad said, it's not just high school, you got more.
Yeah.
Like, trust me, trust the process. And so it was a living nightmare waking up early in the morning to do rehab every single day, then have to do school, then do more workouts and try and get back. Like, it was crazy hard work.
Yeah, so as you're going through all this rehab, talking with mom, talking with dad, talking with me, like, what's the part that just kind of kept you going, right? Because like I said, it was hard, it's tough. Like, what's the part that was like, you know what, I'm trying to reach this goal, or, I got family, depending on me, or I just love this sport. What was that thing that you kept going back to that made you get through that rehab process?
People doubted me. I had people doubting me, like, oh, he's done, you won't be the same. Like, my dad told me that, and I felt the type of way about it. Yeah. And so he told me, like, show me you truly love this sport. It's not about me, it's about you. Yeah. So he said, depending on what you do here, depending if you're going to make it far or not.
Yeah.
So it was like a big test.
Got you. And then as we go through, the rehab, and you get through that, what was it like when you first got back out there? Were you the same? Was it tough to get all the way back going? Did you, pop off, and did you come back better? What was that like when you got back going?
When I first got back, it was never the same. Like, it took me a minute to get back to 50%. Like, I couldn't pass the ball straight, or I couldn't change direction. Like, it took me a minute to get back where I was before injury. And I understand that. My dad told me, showed me examples, and you could clearly see I was out of shape. I couldn't do certain movements with my legs. But I understood though, because that's how the body works.
Facts. So the reason why I wanted to do this, because a lot of y'all, you go through ups, downs, things that don't work out your way. This is a kid, like I said, that I've worked with for a long time. And there's been even more ups and downs that we'll talk about throughout the way. So you're going through, you're not there, and then, you're working your way back into shape. You're in here, we're trying to get you right. You're with my dad, and then boom, you back. Now you're years down the line, and we're finally rehab. You're doing your thing, playing on elite level teams, right, that you worked for your whole life, and we're at a showcase, right? You're having a good game. You had a good game before. And who was out? What was the team? Was it like Washington or something? That there was a team specifically out there to watch you the game there where you got hurt again.
The Washington, Seattle.
Okay, yeah. So I believe it was, like I said, Washington. He's out there. You know, the D1 schools are watching him, and then boom, somebody runs into his leg. Right? Don't think nothing of it. It hurts. His dad hits me up asking me, "Hey, what do you think about this, and the other?" And then all of a sudden, the next game, he's like, "Man, he got to be able to go. These schools is, you know, watching him. They want to see what he's about. They love him what he's doing at the showcase." Then he hits me back. He can't go. What does that feel like? You don't work all this to get back. Then you work to get to the team you want, the level you want. You have to showcase. All these guys are watching you. It's something you don't do. Somebody just runs into your leg, and then what? So what actually was the diagnosis? It was something in the back of your knee. What was it again?
The cartilage of my knee, my bone came off.
Yeah, so the cartilage of the bone came off. My man's at the biggest moment of his life, and he can't go. What's it like for you then?
Second game, I did everything. We went to get like a deep tissue massage in Tennessee, and we tried that. It felt better. I warmed up. I got through the warm up.
Yeah.
And I started the second game. I mean, like the first time I sprint, I knew something was off. And like my coach, he told me, you know, you can't go. And when I was walking to the trainers, I cried. Like it hurt.
Yeah.
Like that could have been my big chance.
Yeah.
And I was hurt. And so my dad told me, like, don't even cry about it. Like, I mean, it could be worse, but at the same time, don't even cry about it. Go back to your team and just finish out. When we see, we go back to Texas.
Yeah.
So I mean, he always kept my head up. I always be optimistic about it. Like, it's people that had way worse.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was devastated, but he always knew I could bounce back.
Got you. And like I said, once again, I want y'all to hear stories like this because not only are you going to go through something like that, whoever's out there watching, you might know somebody that you can help, but I want y'all to remember us having to sit down with me and my boy TBJ and just understanding this part of his story, right? These are the parts of the stories that not enough people talk about, right? They talk about it way after they become, you know, I want you to hear it from somebody before they've reached the level they want to get to, the level we know he can get to, before the fame, the stardom, the stars, him being on TV. So you do that and come back to Texas. They tell you about the cartilage in your knee, and then they say, boom, you down and out again. So did you have to have surgery on it? Was it rest? Was it rehab? What did you have to do?
It was surgery.
So surgery. How long was you out from that surgery?
So at first, it was said until October.
Yeah.
And so that's when we did crazy rehab. Went to your dad to speed up the process. We went to the doctor. He said my knee wouldn't fully heal.
Yeah.
They postponed it to December.
Yeah.
And I was messed up about it because my hopes was up. I'll be back before a big showcase. He told me he had to postpone it. So I was down.
Got you. So through all this, right, you doing your thing, getting better in 7th grade, boom. Then you go into high school, knees mess up, something you're born with, right? Then you work to get back to 100. And after you're 100, you finally reach your goals of getting to bigger teams, showcases. Boom, something happens. Just a fluke. Like, people get ran into all the time. Fluke injury. Now you down and out again. Like, at any of these points, right, in the beginning of the high school, to this point now, did you ever just think about, man, maybe this ain't for me. I might just have to, you know, figure something else out? Or is it always like, I'm going to always shake back? Like, what were those feelings like when you continue to see, you know, that hard work and then those setbacks?
This most recent one, I felt like I was doubting myself. Like, I don't have a lot of time. I got hurt at one of the worst moments of my life.
Yeah.
And so I doubted myself, and I was thinking about, like why? It was a big question, like, why happened to me? Why this happened? And so my dad saw it, and he had a big talk with me. He shook me out of it. Like, my dad was always in my corner to support me.
Facts.
So every time I was down, he always brought me back up.
Facts. And I already know Pops always shows love. You know, I done talked to your Pops probably longer than any other parents. Your Pops be like, hey, DP, I got about 3 minutes, and I'm off the phone. I look down at the time, an hour and 45 later. but like I said, I know the love he has for you. I know the things he's willing to do for you. We've had plenty of talks and chats. And no, that's love to have somebody, you know, in your corner like that. And like I said, I've met Mom. Shoot, I've been on a Call of Duty with Mom, right? Call Mama and Daddy on a Call of Duty. But so now you shake out of that. We're back in the middle of your rehab, plus you shaking back on your strength, your health, your energy, everything about you. What's the biggest thing that you will have to now accomplish coming back from all this?
Um, I'll say just keep doing what I'm doing,
Yeah.
eating right, keep working out, and once it's go time for a game, show out. Like my goal is to go to D1 college
Yeah.
or go overseas and try to go from a big team over there. So I mean, I have routes, but I put in work to do it. I mean, it's gonna take time, but if I keep doing what I'm doing now, I should be able to accomplish the goals.
Got you. So I know we talked about some of the setbacks that have got you here to this point. What actually got you into soccer, right? Especially, we know there's obviously black players that play soccer,
Right.
but from where we're from, Dallas,
Right.
football is king, right?
Right.
And basketball is huge. What got you into being like, I'm gonna go to soccer route?
Oh, so at that time, I think 4 or 5. I don't really remember, but I was like a kid. I got introduced to games and stuff. Little chubby kid. My parents like, nah, you're not gonna be lazy. Just be lounging around. So my mom said no football because of concussions. My parents didn't think basketball was the right idea because
Yeah, you just
Genetics.
But I say if you ain't tall, it's tough to
Right.
get there.
baseball, I didn't like baseball. I quit that. I guess soccer was the last option. I just stuck with it. I don't know why, but I guess I just stuck with it. Once I put my mind to something, and I told my parents I want to do it, they expect me to, rock with it.
Yeah.
So ever since I've been rocking with it my whole life.
Exactly. So, and with soccer, what's the thing that you feel, that you fell in love with the most about soccer, right? Obviously, you're doing it. You didn't like these other sports. Might not been tall enough. Like for me, football, it was me catching that ball, seeing a guy one-on-one and making him miss. You know what I mean?
Right.
Making that big play, hearing that crowd roar. That was what I love, is making that huge play. What's the thing that made you fall in love with soccer?
I mean, as a kid, I started off as a striker, like scoring goals, whatever. I didn't really. I mean, it was cool, but once I went to play defense as a defender and play defense, like on offense, I can read you, lock you up,
Yeah.
and just have fun. The intensity,
Yeah.
get people heads.
Yeah.
I mean, the competitive of the sport, being a defender, that's what got me in love with it. Then, as I progressively got better and gained more confidence, that's when I started loving it more than going more defense, and that be your mindset. Like, if you can't score on me, how you gonna win?
Yeah. So you have that pride of, like I said, locking somebody up, because most people find joy in scoring, right?
Right.
And having that ball on the offensive side. There's very few people that just can take pride in defense.
Right.
And the ones that do are usually elite at it, because most of the other guys would still love to be an offensive player, but they might have other better offensive guys, so you're on defense. But there's few guys that say, no, I don't care what you got over there. This is my side of the ball.
Right.
So taking that away from somebody, so I play DB as well. So there isn't, many things as fun as, not allowing somebody to get off, and because what they want to score, or what they want to do. They want to score.
Right.
They want to get the first down. They want to celebrate. So being able to take that away from somebody is huge. With, that being said, through the rehab, everything coming back, if everything, played out how you wanted it to from today on, right? I know practice is supposed to start back up. Hopefully, we get this weather to pass. Practice starts back up, games come back up. We in the senior year. Like, what would this next year look like from you if everything, went the way you wanted it to?
Go to a D1 college in the ACC.
Yeah.
And go as a freshman, do my thing, and try to get drafted in MLS and work my way up there and then go overseas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that or just go overseas. I mean, it's either way. Again, the choice. If I go overseas to Spain, there's big teams over there,
Yeah.
big leagues and all that, and I take that too. But I mean, the ultimate goal is to get paid
Yeah.
and do what I love while I get paid, and my family can be straight.
Yeah, no, I know what that, feels like, of trying to not only do what you do because you love it, but also trying to do what you do to, put yourself and your family and maybe, your future family in position to be great. Who's the guy that you look up to when you're looking up guys and watching film and watching highlights in soccer? Like, who was the guy when you were young, and who's the guy now? And then if it's not two different people, who's the one person?
So I mean, it kind of was stages to it. Before defense, of course, it was Messi. Every
Yeah.
little kid watched Messi, or he got Neymar, Ronaldo. But as I become a defender, Virgil van Dijk, a
Okay.
center back, he was smart, physical. He knew what he was doing as a center back. Now, as I got older to become an outside back, wing back, from defense to offense to going back,
Yeah.
I switched to Alphonso Davies. He's a Canadian brother, super
Okay.
explosive, and kind of have the same play style.
Okay.
And so I watched him see what he do, so I can add it to my game. Because he's in the pros. If I can do what a pro do, I should be able to go up there soon.
Yeah.
And so I watched him see what he do, the small details, how he cross, how he explode off the ball, you know, how he do on the ball, how he defend. So I mean, I watched him to copy his play style because we play similar.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fire. That's fire. Like I said, I just wanted to give y'all some, some of the bars and gems, the ups, the downs of what some of our athletes go through. Because I know sometimes we talk about the athletes and this kid's getting this NIL and this kid's making this money and this kid is a 5-star. Like, we have dogs as well that have to take that hard road. Most of you, just like myself, I played at a very high level, will have to take that, hard road to get to where you want to get to. But sometimes, that's the sweetest thing that you can do is fight through, the pains, the injuries, the ups, the downs, getting cut, and it's still making it to where you want to make it to. With that being said, to end it up, if you could tell Pops, Mama, anything before we get off of here, go ahead and let them know.
I mean, I'm gonna try my best, try to get an NIL deal or try to get a big contract and work with y'all, put money in y'all and invest. Try to take the game I'm learning now, so in the future I won't struggle. Try to listen to y'all as much as possible. I know things go down, it's ups and downs, but I really appreciate y'all and what y'all do for me. And I hope everything go right where we can all live happy.
Man, I appreciate you, my boy. Good work on the interview, man. You probably talk pretty good. You got a decent media training up. You can go even have it even better by the time you get to where you want to go. But yeah, bro, like I said, I wanted this story just to get out there so when people see you one day, they'll be like, I remember when. Right? Like I said, let's start to this story at when it first went down of when we was like, dang, that's a setback. Boom, dang, that's a setback. But then one day they're going to say, man, I remember what he went through in 9th grade. I remember what he went through as a junior. I remember that story. Now look at him. That can be me. That can be my brother. That can be my sister. That can be my son. Everybody isn't going to make it in the easiest way, but they have stories and people to look up to that did make it through amazing things, and I appreciate you, my boy. So that's another episode of the Listen to DP podcast, man. Like I said, my boy TBJ, Christian Boudreaux Jr. Hey, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. We out.